United States President Donald Trump has imposed a fresh 10% tariff hours after the Supreme Court struck down a key legal basis for several of its sweeping global tariffs. The court ruled that the 1977 International Emergency Economic Powers Act does not give the president authority to impose taxes, reaffirming that only Congress can levy tariffs. The move resets a trade campaign that began in 2025, affecting dozens of countries. France, India, South Korea and Mexico are reviewing the impact. More in this report.
US President Donald Trump imposed new 10% worldwide tariff on imports into the United States on Friday after the Supreme Court struck down his previous trade measures. In a 6-3 ruling, the US Supreme Court declared that President has overstepped his powers, holding that the International Emergency Economic Powers Act does not grant the President authority to impose tariffs. The voting upheld that it is the right of the Congress to impose taxes, not the President. On the same day, Trump dubbed the Supreme Court decision a disgrace. He signed executive orders to impose new tariffs under Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1974, partly replacing tariffs of 10% to 50% under the 1977 International Emergency Economic Powers Act.
We're going straight ahead with 10% straight across the board, which was the absolute right to do. And that's taking place. That's a lot of money coming into our country. And then during that period of about 5 months, we are doing the various investigations necessary to put fair tariffs or tariffs, period.
According to a White House fact sheet, the new duty is slated to take effect on February 24th for 150 days, with exemptions remaining for sectors that are under separate probes, including pharma and goods entering the US under the US-Mexico-Canada agreement. After 150 days, it has to be referred to the US Congress for approval. The ruling marks a legal reset in a tariff campaign that began in April 2025 and reshaped global trade flows, including sharply raising and later reducing duties on various goods. The tariffs initially targeted Mexico, Canada, and China before expanding dramatically to dozens of trade partners on what the president billed as Liberation Day. The White House cited a 1977 law, the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, to justify the tariffs. But the move triggered backlash at home and abroad, with businesses warning of higher import taxes and rising consumer prices. State courts were also petitioned, where adverse verdicts were handed out, taking the matter to the top court. Meanwhile, several countries reacted immediately to the court's ruling. Some countries welcomed the ruling, while others reviewed the trade deals with economic effect.
We shouldn't go too fast either, because I note that President Trump, after a few hours, said he had revised the measures to introduce new tariffs, but this time more limited and for everyone. So we will see. We will look exactly at the consequences, what can be done, and we will adapt.
South Korean presidential office Blue House said that the government will review the trade deal and make decisions in the national interest, while India's Commerce Ministry said that it is studying the developments for their implications. Canada, on the other hand, welcomed the court's decision but has pointed out that there are still some challenges ahead. Mexico's President Claudia Sheinbaum said that her government would be carefully reviewing the Supreme Court's decision to assess its scope and the extent to which Mexico might be affected. The EU also said it was closely analyzing the developments following the judgment. Apart from these nations, Democrats and some Republicans lauded the ruling as a victory for US consumers and an affirmation of the separation of powers, while other GOP lawmakers pledged to help Trump re-establish his tariffs. Refunding of tariffs already paid to the US federal government, estimated to be around $150 billion US, remains a grey area, possibly involving further litigation. Bureau Report, DD India.